Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. If you would like to testify, you must fill out a testimony slip with one of the Council Sergeant-at-Arms. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. No one may approach the dais at any time during this hearing. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Thank you. And good morning and welcome to this, It's been a little while. But good morning and welcome to this hearing of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. My name is Sylvina Brooks Powers and I am the chair for this committee. Today's hearing will focus on the Taxi and Limousine Commission and its oversight of New York City's licensed drivers, vehicles, and commuter vans. The TLC oversees more than 200,000 licensees who together complete nearly 1 million trips each day. Most of these rides now occur in for-hire vehicles, particularly through high-volume apps such as Lyft and Uber. An often overlooked part of our transportation network is TLC licensed commuter vans. These vehicles carry up to 20 passengers, serve transit deserts, and provide essential connections to public transit. Many New Yorkers choose them for their reliability and ability to bridge gaps in existing transit systems. However, the licensed commuter van industry has struggled since the pandemic, with over 500 licensed vans in 2014, down to less than 40 a decade later. While the industry is slowly rebounding, illegal, unregulated vans compete directly with licensed operators and pose a danger on our roads. Many of these vans aren't simply unlicensed. They also ignore other safety regulations that govern licensed vans, such as having a licensed driver, having adequate insurance coverage, and undergoing required inspections. Unlicensed vans also illegally pick up passengers at bus stops or in bus stops, undermining the city's public bus network. Today's hearing will take a hard look at these realities and how the city can balance fairness, safety, and access across our transportation system. Serious challenges also face the FHV industry. FHV drivers have raised concerns about the lack of access to restrooms while driving. Because there are so few designated relief stands in Manhattan, drivers are often forced to travel into Brooklyn or Queens, which not only adds to congestion, but also costs drivers more and reduces the time they can spend serving riders. In addition to the oversight topic, the committee will also consider several pieces of legislation. Intro number 115, sponsored by Councilmember Aviles, requiring the Office of Technology and Innovation to develop a mobile app mapping all electric vehicle charging stations in the city. The app would provide real-time information such as charging level, connector type, e-bike compatibility, and station availability. Intro number 139, sponsored by myself, which expands the size of the TLC board from 9 to 11 members by adding 2 licensed driver representatives, ensuring that the voices of those on the road every day are directly included in decision making. Intro number 1000, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, which would allow for-hire vehicles to park in commercial meter zones for up to 30 minutes, up to 4 times per day. Intro number 1346, sponsored by myself, which would require DOT to conduct a study of the commuter van industry every 4 years, examining ridership, service areas, and areas of conflict with buses and pedestrians. Intro number 1347, also sponsored by myself, which directs the TLC, working with NYPD and DOT, to develop a comprehensive enforcement checklist for illegal commuter vans. This would allow maximum penalties to be applied when unlicensed vans are caught violating multiple rules at once. Intros 1346 and 1347 are the result of numerous meetings I have convened with our commuter van working group, which includes commuter van operators, TLC, DOT, NYPD, taxi stakeholders, and transit unions. The goal of this group has been to craft comprehensive legislation that will help this industry, while also strengthening existing transit systems. I thank all working group members for their contributions and am excited for this opportunity to hear our co-drafted legislation. Today's oversight topic and legislation addresses critical questions. How do we ensure drivers have the facilities they need to do their jobs with dignity? How do we protect passengers from unsafe and illegal operators? And how do we ensure our transportation network remains reliable, equitable, and resilient in the face of change? Before we begin, I would like to thank my staff and the committee staff for their hard work in preparing for today's hearing. Renee Taylor, my Chief of Staff, Julian Martin, my Director for Legislation and Budget, Mark Chen, Senior Legislative Counsel, our new Legislative Counsel, Theodore Miller, Kevin Katowski, Senior Policy Analyst, John Basile, Senior Policy Analyst, and Saimul Hamid, Financial Analyst. I now ask Committee Counsel to swear in the administration.
Thank you. I'm Mark Chen, Counsel to the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. Our first panel will be from the Taxi and Limousine Commission, David Doe, Commissioner and Chair, Cheryl Aludo, General Counsel and Deputy Commissioner of Legal Affairs, and James DiGiovanni, Deputy Commissioner for Policy and Community Affairs. Also from the Department of Transportation, Eric Beaton, Deputy Commissioner for Transportation Planning and Management. I will now administer the oath. Please raise your right hands. Member questions?
Yes.
Thank you. You may begin when ready.
Good morning, Honorable Chair Brooks Powers and members of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. I'm joined today by Taxi and Limousine Commission General Counsel Cheryl Aludo and Deputy Commissioner for Policy and Community Affairs James DiGiovanni, as well as Eric Beaton from the Department of Transportation's Deputy Commissioner for Transportation, as well as Rick Rodriguez. And address the 5 bills on the agenda. Our sister agencies, the Department of Transportation and the Office of Technology and Innovation, will discuss these bills in more detail. TLC licensed vehicles continue to move New Yorkers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We are not only the city that never sleeps, but the city that never stops moving, made possible by nearly 178,000 TLC drivers. Every minute, there are an average of 612 trips, and this has translated into 158 million trips through the first half of this year, compared to 151 million trips that were completed in the first 6 months of 2024. As of June, there were cumulatively 121 million ride-hail trips, 24 million yellow taxi trips, and about 12 million for-hire vehicle trips. These trips are more accessible than ever. This June, TLC achieved 50% accessibility of the city's active yellow taxi fleet. As Commissioner Christina Curry of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities stated, for the disability community, this progress means more than just numbers. It translates into greater independence, reduced isolation, and better access to work, school, healthcare, and everyday life. If you include the more than 7,400 for-hire vehicles that are also wheelchair accessible, the TLC's 13,000-strong wheelchair accessible fleet is by far the most accessible in the nation. The robustness of this overall industry is mirrored in the for-hire vehicle sector. At the beginning of the year, there were 782 bases compared to 728 at the beginning of 2024. Trip volumes for livery, black car, and luxury limo bases, as well as high-volume bases, continue to show strong performance in comparison to 2019 levels. Within the for-hire vehicle sector, TLC began implementing the state-authorized COVID-19 Livery Vehicle Recovery Act on April 15, 2025. The high-volume for-hire vehicle sector also remains in good health. In June, this sector completed approximately 20 million trips, a similar number to June 2024. Lyft and Uber continue to dispatch about 20% of trips to electric and wheelchair-accessible vehicles, exceeding the current 15% Green Rise baseline for 2025. I mentioned earlier in the year that TLC was in the process of amending its first-in-the-nation driver pay rules for rideshare drivers, authorized by Local Law 150 of 2018. Before these rules were implemented, 85% of drivers in this sector were earning less than the equivalent minimum wage. In June, TLC adopted amended rules, reaffirming our commitment to improving the economic security of licensees. For a sample trip of 7.5 miles and 30 minutes, the minimum per trip payment is approximately $29, an overall increase of approximately 5% compared to 2024 rates and 26% compared to 2019 rates. As part of these amendments, TLC updated the per-mile rate to account for increases in driver expenses. Crucially, the new rules also limit the ability of Uber and Lyft to lock out drivers from their platforms. Under our new regulations, they must now provide at least 72 hours notice before denying access, and they must allow these drivers to accept dispatches for at least 16 hours once they're back on. I want to thank the TLC staff, advocates, researchers, and licensees who helped get this rule package to the finish line. Turning to commuter vans, the industry continues its slow but steady recovery. There are now 51 licensed vans compared to 38 at the beginning of the year. This progress is partially thanks to Empire State Development's Commuter Van Stabilization Program. Additionally, licensed vans continue to operate safely. Of the 66 safety-related violations issued to commuter vans in calendar year 2024, only 7 were issued to licensed commuter vans. Only 2 licensed vans experienced collisions with no reported injuries. This contrasts with the unlicensed vans, which unfairly compete with licensed vans that are not inspected for safety. TLC continues to conduct joint operations with NYPD and these illegal operators in 9 operations in Brooklyn and Queens in 2025, with more in the works. Enforcement lays the foundation for a safe and healthy industry, and we continue to recruit, onboard, and hire new officers. We currently have 114 officers. Just this morning initiated another class of 34 cadets. We are also working expeditiously to implement local laws adopted by the Council. Local Law 78, sponsored by Councilmember Gutierrez, mandates that all taxis and FHVs display decals warning of deadly practice of dooring or opening a car door without checking for approaching cyclists. TLC provided this decal to drivers for free, but it wasn't mandatory. I'm happy to inform you that we have secured enough free decals for licensed taxis and FHVs on September 3rd. We held a public hearing on amended rules to implement this new law. At the same hearing, we also introduced rules to implement Local Law 90, sponsored by Councilmember De La Rosa, changing the maximum required personal injury protection or no-fault insurance coverage to 200% of the state level, or $100,000. This aligns with Mayor Adams' goal to reduce costs for working families, while also ensuring that for-hire drivers and passengers still have the highest personal injury protection in the state. Lastly, I want to bring you attention to the bills on the agenda. Introduction 139 of 2024, sponsored by Chair Brooks Powers, increases TLC's Board of Commissioners from 9 to 11, requiring the 2 additional commissioners to hold valid TLC driver's license. Since this proposal alters the composition of the commission, we have asked the Law Department to review this bill for any legal concerns. Respectfully, we are opposed to this for many years, as asking for commissioners to regulate the very industry they make a living from is not appropriate. Given the Commission regularly considers items relating to penalties, driver pay, safety standards, and other topics that directly impact licensed drivers and the riding public. Commissioners must be impartial, which could be challenging for a licensee. As such, we encourage the Council to fill the existing vacancy on the Commission with a candidate who has had past TLC-related experience, rather than an active licensee. We already have one such experienced commissioner, Commissioner Paul Bader, who brings his years of service to this role. We appreciate the goal of ensuring that drivers' views are considered in TLC decision-making, and we all are always ready to work with you to ensure drivers have an opportunity to make their voices heard. Since this legislation was first introduced, we have invested heavily in understanding that the driver experience. From surveying nearly 7,000 drivers to guide our driver pay rules, to the Medallion Relief Program, to establishing the Owner-Driver Resource Center and Drivers Protection Unit. TLC has made drivers a priority. I won't pretend to know what it's like to be a full-time driver, but I underwent the TLC's licensing process myself and periodically drive taxis and FHVs to better understand drivers' needs without collecting fares or tips. Introduction 1347 of 2025 requires the TLC, Department of Transportation, and Police Department to develop a checklist of laws, rules, and regulations for officers' use during commuter van enforcement operations. Enforcement across all sectors is a top concern for TLC, and our van enforcement figures reflect that. In 2025, TLC issued 113 summonses to unlicensed commuter vans, significantly more than the 59 issued in 2024. However, this bill would make enforcement against unlicensed vans more difficult and likely impede on future progress. Our trained officers already check for all applicable violations. Requiring them to go through a lengthy physical checklist during a stop will add unnecessary time and steps as more illegal vans pass by. In effect, the administrative burden would outweigh any real gains. Intro 115 of 2024, sponsored by Councilmember Avias, requires the Office of Technology and Innovation to create a mobile application that provides users with real-time information about electric vehicle charging stations. Our Green Rise initiative has increased charging demand for TLC drivers, and more than 300 new charger plugs have been added to New York City since our Electrification in Motion report was released. But a new city-run application would be incredibly costly and duplicate tools that already exist. EV owners can already access a myriad of charging apps. There are government tools like the Alternative Fueling Station Locator by the U.S. Department of Energy, and maps like Waze, Apple, and Google Maps list charging stations. A duplicative app would require continuous funding and resources to maintain with little additional utility. Intro 1000 of 2024, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, allows for for-hire vehicles to park or stand in commercial parking meters for a limited time. We understand that relief areas are vital in the working condition for our licensees, which is why we are working with the DOT and driver advocacy groups to expand the existing 112 relief stands, which allow drivers to park for up to 1 hour. This is a top priority for this administration, and we're always looking for commitment and space from community stakeholders. I encourage the members of this committee to recommend additional locations to both TLC and the DOT. At the same time, the administration also recognizes that more dynamic curb management must not jeopardize access to commercial delivery trucks or parking meter operations. As TLC does not regulate signage, parking meters, or curb management, we defer to the DOT's position on this bill. Intro 1346 of 2025, also sponsored by Chair Brooks Powers, requires the DOT to study commuter van service and produce public report every 4 years. The administration believes that a report would be useful for future policy making and helpful for evaluating the industry's recovery. I want to thank the members of the Commuter Van Working Group, which is convened by the chair, who helped develop this bill. Since this legislation requires action from a separate agency, we again defer to the DOT. Thank you for considering my testimony. As always, it's an honor to be invited to this chamber to discuss the work of the TLC. I look forward to working with all the esteemed members of this committee to develop legislation that ensures New York City continues to have the safest and most well-regulated for-hire industry. I'm happy to answer any questions.
And good morning, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm Eric Beaton, Deputy Commissioner for Transportation Planning and Management at the New York City Department of Transportation. As the Commissioner mentioned, we wanted to add comments on 2 bills. First, Intro 1000 of 2024. As TLC stated, we recognize the critical role that relief stands play in the health of delivery drivers. As mentioned, we are working with TLC to expand the number of locations for these relief stands. DOT is tasked with also making sure our streets function safely and efficiently. Part of this work is recognizing the need for a more dynamic curb. In recent years, we have implemented strategies to modify parking regulations to reflect current usages. As truck deliveries continue to grow across the city, this proposal weakens the efforts to better manage congestion on our streets. As written, Intro 1000 would displace delivery vehicles' access to the curb and increase the potential for these vehicles to double park. Additionally, Intro 1000 would require challenging re-engineering of existing payment systems in coordination with NYPD and the Department of Finance, which would create significant fiscal implications. We look forward to working with the sponsors, the TLC, and all the stakeholders to identify additional relief stand locations. Intro 1346 of 2025. As TLC stated, the commuter van industry serves an important facet of our urban transportation system as we address safety and mobility for all users of the public right-of-way. Since DOT provides a final recommendation to TLC on approval or rejection of requested commuter van authority and territory, we acknowledge the need to continue studying the evolution of commuter van service and operations. Our research estimates that commuter vans serve up to 70,000 riders daily who rely on them, especially in minority and low-income communities, largely in the outer boroughs. In 2018, DOT produced a citywide commuter van study to better understand the industry and its impact on the transportation network. This study provided insights to guide policymaking with recommendations that have already been implemented, including waiving the requirement for petitions and signatures before a new van authority can be recommended by DOT. Since then, there have been some changes to the industry's landscape. Local Law 7 of 2017 capping the number of commuter van licenses to 735, and the growth of the for-hire vehicle industry. A new study may have some modest benefits that assist TLC in making policies. We look forward to working with the committee and TLC to identify integral study goals that best suit this evolving sector. Thank you.
Thank you. We've been joined today by council members De La Rosa, Narcisse, Hanks, Ariola, virtually, and Banks. And we will hear a statement from Councilmember Aviles.
Thank you so much, Chair Brooks Powers, for putting Intro 115 on the agenda today. This legislation I've introduced during the last legislative session as a result of receiving many complaints from EV drivers in my district who struggle to find the right charger for their vehicle. As you may know, there exists a hodgepodge of accessible information on where to find chargers, the best of which might be the city's Flow, which lists all the official NYC DOT chargers. However, this app excludes all private chargers. For example, if there was a ChargePoint charger nearby, you would then need to download a separate app just to view ChargePoint chargers, and so on for each private entity, including sometimes those for specific manufacturers such as Tesla. There also exists Evolve NY chargers run by New York State, which are at the moment and can be viewed on the Electrify America app, which would also require a separate application. All of this is further complicated by no federal standards for charging ports or charging speed. Some vehicles might require J1772 port, others a NEMA 1450, and so on, with 8 or more possible ports, not all of which are available on any one charger, public or private, and all of which charge at different speeds. Will it take me about a half an hour to charge, or 6 hours to charge at any particular location? Drivers may have to log into multiple apps simply to find which system has a charger available for them within a particular time frame that is needed. You might also use an app like PlugShare, which is the most comprehensive to date, but you might show up at a charger that fits your needs only to find out that it's located on private property, or that it's reserved for hospital staff only, or you therefore are unable to charge. So of course, over time, most drivers will adapt to these conditions, but at a time when we are, at least in this city, trying to increase the adoption of clean energy technology on behalf of drivers and fleets, We not only want to create a user-friendly system, but also build in flexibility also, so that we can include e-bikes in this nascent class of vehicles desperately needing access for safe charging stations. Our city has the resources to develop a comprehensive app, or at least, I understand, as the administration said, it currently has it, level it up quite significantly, so that you don't need 16 apps to figure out where you can actually charge your vehicle in this city. As we look to electrify our trucks as well, this may be something we may also want to consider as we vision a city that is moving towards net zero. So if we are serious about clean air, helping to make adoption of this technology less daunting for our residents, for the drivers, it seems like this would be something we should integrate as a city and really look towards, because currently it is a hodgepodge of systems that doesn't work, and we can do better. So thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Again, thank you for your testimony today. Jumping into it, I'm going to start with commuter vans. According to TLC reports, as of 2024, there were 12 authorized commuter van buses, which operate 38 licensed vehicles with 59 commuter van drivers. I understand, based on your testimony, that we are up to now 51 licensed vans now. This is still very far from the 48 bases, 534 vehicles, and 289 drivers a decade ago. Do you have updated numbers on authorized commuter van bases and drivers for 2025 to go along with the 51 licensed vans?
Thank you so much, Councilmember, for the question. Making sure that our commuter vans continue to provide a vital resources to their communities that they serve is incredibly important to this administration. What we know is that through our work, through your work, and through the state's work, we have been able to get the commuter van industry towards a path to recovery. With the commuter van stabilization program, $11 million is given to the commuter van industry to help them get towards licensure. That means helping them get insurance and helping them also add new technologies to their vehicles. What we know is that commuter vans grew since the beginning of this administration, from 31 to now 51 licensed commuter vans. And to your specific question, we have also increased the number of commuter van drivers and authorities as well, from the 12 that you said to 16 today.
So 16 bases?
Associations, yes.
Okay. And in how many drivers?
59 drivers, 69 licensed drivers.
Besides the commuter van stabilization program you testified about, what else is being done to revitalize the industry?
We continue to not only work with you, council member, but also the stakeholders. From Hector Ricketts to Leroy Morrison, we're always on conversations with them at the state level as well, to continue to ensure that the commuter vans have a pathway forward. In addition to that, like I've told you, council members, that we have also built in more enforcement to illegal commuter vans. But I think a restorative approach, getting illegal commuter vans to licensed commuter vans, is incredibly important to me and to you as well.
Thank you for that. And do you collect data on commuter van usage, such as route geography, volume, and rider demographics? No, but in 2017, council member, we did the first commuter van study, and with your bill, we will again do an additional study to see the needs and flow for the commuter van industry, including the routes that are most popular. I don't know if Eric, if you want to add. No. Okay. Do you know whether unlicensed operations have similarly declined, or have their operations been expanding at the expense of the licensed commuter vans?
So we don't keep track of unlicensed commuter vans because they're not within our license structure, right? And so we know who are licensed and what type of vehicles and associations and drivers are licensed, but we do not have the data on unlicensed commuter vans.
So even when your agents go out and may cite them for violations for being unlicensed, you don't keep that information stored anywhere?
What I can say is that we have done 9 operations with the NYPD, and that there have been 119 summonses issued to unlicensed commuter vans, and only a very small fraction of that goes to licensed commuter vans. And so there have been 119, up from 59 last year in terms of violations. So we have doubled the enforcement on illegal commuter vans.
Pivoting to the unlicensed commuter vans. Unlicensed commuter vans are seen throughout the city and target the same market as licensed vans, but operate without the safety and consumer protection safeguards that TLC licensed commuter vans are bound by, such as insurance and inspection requirements. Do you have an estimate of how many unlicensed commuter vans in any way are operating in the city?
Beyond our enforcement numbers, I do not know the universe of illegal commuter vans. But what I can say is that we are advertising and making sure that unlicensed commuter vans know that there is help, that there is a $40,000 program to help get insurance for unlicensed commuter vans so that they can go into the regulatory scheme, so that it not only protects our passengers with proper insurance, but also the technology to ensure that they are operating safely and efficiently.
Do you know whether they operate in the same neighborhoods as licensed vans or along the same routes?
Indications from the data shows that they're operating in competition with licensed commuter vans.
According to an article by the New York Times, as of 2019, nearly 3/4 of commuter van drivers in the city were operating illegally. However, TLC has previously stated that the number of licensed commuter vans in operation is unknown. Why is it so hard to track how many unlicensed vans operate in the city?
It would be incredibly complicated for the TLC to look at the number of commuter vans across various corridors. We would have to have someone at a location and just to identify these in a survey format. And we have not done that in the past, council member. And so, you know, it takes a lot of intensive resources, and we just haven't done that.
And what can we do to get a reliable estimate? Has TLC tried to coordinate with stakeholders or people in the community serviced by these vans to identify or estimate the number of unlicensed vans?
I think part of the bill that you're proposing, council member, will help us get towards that number and identify not only overall needs of the commuter van industry, but also the number of unlicensed commuter vans.
TLC also reported that in 2023 it seized 4 commuter vans, all of which were returned after a hearing with oath. What kinds of violations warrant seizure of a vehicle? Does TLC seize unlicensed vehicles?
So we do seize unlicensed vehicles. Commuter vans are a little bit more complicated than other types of for-hire vehicles that are operating unlicensed. Within the commuter van space, we not only have to get 2 guilty or 1 guilty conviction and then catch them in the process again. Oftentimes, these are plated in other states, like Pennsylvania, for example, and it becomes very complicated when they re-register it, because then we have to start all over again to get another guilty verdict. So it is very complicated, and because of past court precedent, we are not able to seize these vehicles on the initial stop.
Moving to enforcement, what type of coordination exists between TLC, DOT, and NYPD or other agencies to ensure that parking, traffic, and ride-hailing rules are followed?
Yeah, so we regularly work with the citywide traffic task force at the NYPD to do commuter van operations. We do it across our city in both Brooklyn and Queens, on Flatbush Avenue, at downtown Flushing, Main Street, and then also Jamaica Avenue. And so we regularly work with them to ensure that commuter vans are not operating illegally within a variety of different corridors. In addition to that, on unlicensed activity, we also work with the Port Authority at the 2 airports to ensure that our for-hire vehicles, especially the unlicensed ones, are not taking advantage of tourists and other residents of New York City. We do a variety of different operations, and throughout all of 2025 so far, we've had 3,000 summonses issued to unlicensed for-hire activity.
Thank you for that. How is TLC monitoring shared curb and pickup drop-off zones for commuter vans, and how does TLC interact with DOT and MTA in terms of managing the intersection between bus lanes and routes and pickups drop-off zones?
Yeah, so we have an amazing relationship with the DOT. The DOT is the expert on curb management, and they have consistently been able to partner with us not only in 2017, but also regular partnerships with my team to ensure that our for-hire vehicles are not impacting our streets in a negative way. But I'll turn it over to Eric to talk a little bit more about the DOT role in managing our curb.
Sure, and as the commissioner said, we work very closely together on these issues. And what we try to see is places where there's a lot of pickup and drop-off activity happening, we want to provide designated curb space so that they're not doing it in the middle of the street, blocking buses, blocking bus stops, blocking bus lanes. So in places like downtown Jamaica, we've created spaces where commuter vans can have separate pickup and drop-off that is different from where the buses are stopping.
But those areas downtown are often taken up by cars that are parked there,
Yes.
sometimes with plaques from the local courthouse and surrounding entities.
Yeah, and that's where the partnership with NYPD comes in. Obviously, we're not the enforcement agency against that behavior, but we work with NYPD, and when we see that happening, we reach out to them and ask them to focus in places. So certainly, if you're seeing things, we're happy to help coordinate that with NYPD as well.
Thank you for that. Looking to equity, safety, and consumer protection, what mechanisms are in place to address complaints or safety violations specific to commuter vans? And 2 follow-ups to that would be, are response times tracked by vehicle type or complaint? And on average, how long does it take for TLC to respond to passenger complaints for FHVs or commuter vans?
Yep, so in the last fiscal year, TLC received 23,000 consumer complaints. That's a lot of complaints, and 18,000 of them were deemed to be prosecutable at oath. And so our prosecuting attorneys look through the case, look at the complaining witness, and looks at the evidence to ensure that we can win at oath. In those instances, right, we also let our consumers know, be it a bicyclist, a pedestrian, or another roadway user, that we're taking this on and that they may have to be a witness in front of oath. In many of those instances, we look at the universe as a whole. And what took us maybe 45 days to 60 days previously, we have gotten down to 15 days through looking at the data and being more efficient. And so overall, we have been doing a better job and making sure that complainants get a resolution within a timely manner. I think when you talk to our bicyclists and other roadway users, when they file complaints, they are incredibly proud of the work that the TLC does because we're incredibly responsive and we follow up with resolutions to every single case. And we are an enforcement agency, so that helps as well.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge we've been joined by council members Juan and Abreu. I'm going to pause with my questions and allow my colleagues to ask their questions, starting with Councilmember Aviles, followed by Councilmember Narcisse.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the administration for being here. So I guess I'd like to first start with who designed the Flow app?
I think I'll turn it over to the DOT.
Yeah, so the Flow app is designed and provided by Flow, the company, who is our current partner in the curbside charging pilot.
And who is responsible for its maintenance?
So that is part of the agreement between us and Flow and Con Ed, that Flow, as the operator of the system, maintains and runs that app.
Great, thank you. And what is the total cost to the city to operate the system?
We will have to get back to you on the exact cost. We're in the process of transitioning from the Con Ed-led pilot to the city running. The initial pilot was at no cost to the city, and we have to look at what it costs now.
I'm sorry, can you say that last part again?
So we recently took over the operation from Con Ed just as their contract was ending. And so it's been a negotiated acquisition with Flow. And so I'll have to get back to you on the details of that contract.
Got it, we'll follow up. Has the adoption of the technology changed since its implementation?
What we've seen is a very strong increase in usage. When we first implemented these, we were seeing in the range of 15 to 25% utilization, which is still very strong by national standards. Today, we see locations all over the city that are at 90% or more, which is functionally someone is leaving as someone else is entering. So it's just very high demand for these locations.
Got it. And how is the city thinking about incentivizing adoption of safe charging for other types of vehicles like e-bikes and trucks?
Yeah, we do believe in the whole ecosystem. So obviously we're talking here about the Flow pilot. We've also been expanding EV charging in our lots and garages, both level 2 and fast charging, as well as working towards ways to charge e-bikes and other things in safe ways. So that's something that's still in development, but we very much recognize the need and want to think of it as a comprehensive system, not as lots of people digging things up separately. And then, yeah, as one of the mitigations for congestion pricing, there is money to convert trucks to cleaner fuel and electric, which builds on our existing Clean Trucks program.
Is there a percentage of allocated money from the congestion pricing for that?
There's a specific amount. I don't have it in front of me, but we can get that to you.
Okay. I mean, so you would agree would you agree based on the current state of affairs, multiple apps, various charging speeds, hodgepodge, private, public, that there is an opportunity for either the city or an entity to actually provide a comprehensive app that could give you some more usable information around where you could use our charging stations?
Sure, and it's definitely a growing and evolving sector, so it's one we're paying a lot of attention to. I mean, when I use an EV, I usually use the PlugShare app and find it to be helpful in collecting both the public and private. I think what we want to do is make sure that we're doing our job well, which is installing these and providing good information. I think what we don't want to do is be duplicative with services that others are providing.
It's a good opportunity.
Councilmember, I'm going to ask you to wrap up, please.
Can I just say one thing
One last
too?
question.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. I just want to say for the record, if our city is truly prioritizing New Yorkers, drivers, consumers, we would just reject autonomous vehicles. We should not be piloting ways.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm
will be
sorry.
removed from the chamber if you cannot conduct yourselves accordingly. Please use the hand gestures to show support and do not clap.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for all that, but I just really
If
wanted
you
to
could
make
just
the
wrap up,
statement.
please.
So I would just say, if we want to really care about New Yorkers, piloting ways to get rid of jobs instead of improving conditions like we are talking about here is where our administration should be focused their resources. So thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Councilmember Narcisse, followed by Councilmember Abreu. I just ask everyone to please be respectful of the time. We do, as always, have a lot of public signed up to testify, and we want to make sure we're able to hear everyone. Thank you.
I'm going to do my best. Good morning, and good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioner, and all the panelists here. For the commuter event, right? I'm having a problem with that because if I go on Flatbush right now, there's a sea of vans going around and disorderly conduct. I mean, some of them by Kings Plaza. I have constant complaints. People are getting out of the van, they're peeing on people's lawn, they're doing all kind of those things. This is not quality of life. There's many of them, that's small business operators that just want to make a living, a good living, right? So for me, my question to you, what's the cap? What do you imagine the cap should be? Because right now we have about 51 licenses. How many you kind of imagine that the number should be?
Well, I think let me just first address Councilmember Narcisse, the quality of life issues. When and if there are any issues with commuter vans, please let me know and my team know, and we will send out TLC police officers with NYPD to make sure that they're not operating in there. Oftentimes, when they see us, they will disperse, but then they'll come back. And so we want to make sure that illegal commuter vans are not operating in your neighborhood. On the other side, right now there are 51 licensed commuter vans, like you mentioned, Council Member. And what that means is that we want to make sure that there is a space and an ability for them to get towards licensure. Right, this is 51, there is no cap to that. If a driver would like to use a commuter van and be licensed by the TLC, they can. I think the upper cap is about a little over 700, and so there's still a lot of room for licensed commuter vans. But that's why we support Chair Brooks Powers' legislation to do a commuter van study so that we can understand where and how these commuter vans should operate, and they should not be operating in an illegal manner. And we support them getting towards the pathway to a licensure.
Let me be clear. There's some great folks, I know they're trying to do their business, that's why they're licensed. But the unlicensed one, they are the one that actually don't want to be licensed because there is no enforcement. And without enforcement, it's a free fall for all. And this is New York City. We cannot run the city on a free fall aspect. So we need to regulate, we need to make sure we create structure. And the community is kind of overwhelmed with not having enough enforcement to make sure, and then create a path for those that want to be legal and work and functioning in New York City. So let's do our very best to do that, and thank you, Chair. And I'm looking forward, because enforcement is the key right now to make sure that we have structure for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the Department of Transportation for being here today. I'm here to take this opportunity to raise a matter of deep concern for my district, the stalled Riverside Drive Viaduct project. The completion of this project is now years off the timeline, and the condition of the half-completed project is taking a major toll on the neighborhood. It is unacceptable for a neighborhood to be left in limbo for years, and it is unacceptable for the city to sign a contract and not enforce the terms. Over and over, my office has tried to get information and schedule public meetings on this issue to no avail, and therefore I am here today. Instead, my constituents have been stonewalled, misled, and ignored. Today, I'm here to demand accountability. My first question, when does DOT consider a contractor to have walked off a project? And is it DOT's position that the contractor on this project is still completing the terms of the contract that's required?
Councilmember, thank you so much. And I just want to say at the top, while I'm unfamiliar with the details,
I've been in touch with your office on this matter, and if you don't know, your staff definitely knows.
I'm going to make sure that after this we follow up, and it is unacceptable, and I apologize for the lack of communication. As to the specifics, I'm totally unprepared to get into the details on the viaduct project. I'm happy to personally come back to you and get the follow-up you deserve.
There hasn't been work done on this project for months. I live right across the street from this project. A lot of my neighbors have been talking about this project, and we haven't seen any single work done in the last year. As early as May of this year, we had a meeting with your office and some residents in our neighborhood, and it seemed as though the project was going swimmingly, only for us to learn recently that workers have appeared to have walked off the project. We want to know, since when did DOT have that information that they walked off the project? When will it enforce the terms of the contractor so that another vendor can come and complete the project? Our community should not be left without this transparency, and having follow-up on this question would mean a lot to my constituents. Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Commissioner. So I'm going to just ask the questions on the record. You don't have to answer them, but I would like answers to them. Is it DOT's position that the contractor on this project is still completing the terms of the contract as required? If the answer is yes, how is that possible when the timeline has been indefinitely halted? The vendor has told residents that they are no longer working, and residents have not seen any work in months. If the answer is no, how is it possible that a contractor has been allowed to stop work on this project entirely with no consequences? What enforcement actions has DOC taken to hold this contractor accountable? Why has the city chosen to let a vendor abandon a critical infrastructure project without penalty? If you are negotiating with the vendor, when will DOT either compel this vendor back to work or move to terminate the contract and assign it to another contractor? There seems to be a clear enforcement issue here. My office was told in front of constituents as recently as May that everything was going swimmingly with this project and there was no issues with completion. I'm going to be reaching out to the comptroller to request further investigation. Thank you so much, Chair.
Do you have any answers for any of the questions? Is the Manhattan Borough Commissioner here at all?
No, they are not.
They're not, okay. I'm requesting that the answers to the questions be submitted to Councilmember Brayu and CC my office before the week is out. Okay. With that, we have no further questions. We will be moving to the public. Thank you again to the agencies for your testimony and participation today. I now open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant-at-Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant-at-Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topics: oversight, TLC, commuter vans for hire vehicles, and licensing in New York City's evolving transportation landscape. Intro number 115, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to the creation of a mobile application that provides information about electric vehicle charging stations. Intro number 139, a local law to amend the New York City Charter in relation to adding 2 commissioners to the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission Board. Intro number 1000, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to permitting the use of commercial parking spaces for hire vehicles. Intro number 1346, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to requiring the Department of Transportation to study the commuter van industry. Intro number 1347, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to enforcing violations against unlicensed commuter vans. If you have written testimony or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. Also, I ask that everyone silence their phones. We're going to call the first panel. Leroy Morrison, Jeremy Moskowitz, Dr. Paul Talley, Fernando Mateo, and Janice Hernandez. Again, you have 2 minutes. We ask that you please adhere to the time constraints. And you may begin when ready. Just be sure to turn on the mic. Just going to repeat the names again to make sure we have the correct people at the dais. Leroy Morrison, Jeremy Moskowitz, Dr. Paul Talley, Fernando Mateo, and Janice Hernandez.
Jermaine Tsai is Executive Director of the New York State Federation. Jermaine Tsai is Executive Director of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers.
Can you, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you talk up, please?
Jermaine Tsai is Executive Director of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers.
Got it. You can begin.
Our CMO and our chairman are going to be reading statements into the record.
So who's testifying? Is it Fernando? Okay, so the two of you, if you're not testifying and you weren't called, you don't need to be at the dais? Just me and Dr. Paul. Okay. Okay, so if you can leave the dais, please. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Honorable Chairman, thank you for having us here. My name's Fernando Mateo. I am the founder and spokesman for the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. We're here to address two very crucial issues that are affecting not only our drivers, but approximately 200,000 drivers in New York City. We believe that parking for 30 minutes in the city, anywhere in the city, other than bus stops, no standing zones, and emergency areas, drivers should be allowed to park. Our drivers are suffering from severe health issues, from prostates to diabetes to high blood pressure, you name it, they have it. When you have to go to the bathroom, you've got to go. There's no way that you can drive a half a mile or a quarter of a mile trying to find a relief space where you can relieve yourself. So we are asking the City Council to understand that parking for 30 minutes anywhere in the city of New York is very important to our drivers. We don't need special permits. We don't need signs that indicate that we can park there. All we need is for the enforcement agencies to look at the license plate number of the vehicle and understand that if that vehicle is there, it's because they need to use, they're using a restroom. We'd also like for you to understand that we transport a lot of ADA passengers, and a lot of the times I'm sorry, a lot of the times buses will drive by and issue a summons. I'm sorry, I just don't want to speak while you're speaking.
I can still hear you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So the MTA buses are issuing fines to drivers that are dropping off disabled people. Sometimes they're not able to drop them off 2 or 3 blocks away. So we'd like to address that issue. And most importantly, every time a driver gets out of his vehicle to use a restroom, he's issued a $115 fine, which basically wipes out his entire earnings for the day. So it would be very important to all of the drivers that the city council instruct the TLC, the city agencies necessary so that drivers can park for 30 minutes anywhere in the city where trucks are able to park to load and unload.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Honorable Chairwoman. Sorry.
Please turn your mic on.
Good morning, Honorable Chairwoman and council members. I have 2 testimonies. They're both in there, one of my own and then one of a fellow New Yorker.
Whatever you can't do today, you could just submit in the written testimony.
My name is Dr. Paul Talaj. I'm a general surgeon trained in Flushing, New York, Chief Medical Officer for the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. I care for professional drivers across New York City and see firsthand the preventable medical harm caused by the simple lack of reliable bathroom access and the fear of being ticketed for addressing basic human needs. This is not theoretical. New York City itself has acknowledged that public restrooms are scarce and often unusable. Earlier this year, the council voted to create a citywide strategy to add public bathrooms because today there's roughly 1 public toilet for every 7,800 residents, about 1,100 total. And many park bathrooms are closed or unsanitary, even during posted hours. That makes just find a bathroom unrealistic for a workforce tied to the curb for about 10 to 12 hours a day. When drivers can't find a restroom, they do only one thing they can. They hold it or they dehydrate on purpose. Medically, both are very dangerous, and urology guidance is very clear. From a both male and female perspective, regularly delaying urination can increase the risk of urinary tract infections. They can cause bladder dysfunction and have other arms of health. For women specifically, they can cause abnormal irregularities in menstrual periods, pelvic floor strain, and cause hemorrhoids. And incomplete emptying compounds that risk even greater. And I don't even want to get started on what would happen for drivers that are pregnant. Dehydration increases kidney stone formation, and we see elevated rates of hypertension and cardiometabolic disease in taxi and for higher drivers. Condition worsened by long sedentary shifts and inconsistent hydration. You've already set a precedent by requiring residents to allow bathroom access to delivery workers when they are picking up orders, and I applaud you for that. Drivers who move people deserve parity when facing
If you could wrap up, please.
an urgent need. For these reasons, I urge you to adopt 3 targeted health protective measures. 1, allow TLC licensed vehicles to park for up to 30 minutes citywide. 2, require establishments to provide emergency restroom access to TLC licensed drivers. And 3, create a clear codified safe harbor from tickets, especially for those elderly and disabled.
Thank you.
Why is it that you're cutting us short when you held the hearing here and you
Excuse
allowed
me.
this to go
Excuse
on and
me.
on and on?
Excuse
It's like you wasted our time.
Please remove
This is
him.
what our drivers look like.
Please remove him.
This
Thank
is
you.
what our drivers look like. You're very impolite and very rude, and I will not come to this council.
Please remove him out of the chamber. Thank you.
And you're talking or we're talking. Very impolite, very rude.
We do have 2 more testimonies that are.
You can submit the rest in writing, please. Thank you.
This is the testimony to the New York
I'm
City-
sorry. You can submit
Oh,
that
submit it.
in writing. Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Janice Hernandez. I'm here on behalf of my dad, Jose Hernandez. He's one of the drivers who is currently fighting kidney disease due to so many years working on the road. Sorry, it's my first time speaking to something like this. So dialysis is what keeps him alive right now. Due to all of this, is not only affecting him because it's life-threatening, but it's also effective to us as a family, where we can no longer spend family vacations together. Everything is limited around his disease now. I just hope that this is taken seriously so that this doesn't happen to other families, because it's very hard to see a family member slowly deteriorating. During his taxi services, he spent a lot of time on the road, so it was very hard for him to find bathrooms or restaurants who would open the door for him when he needed to use the bathroom. I just hope there's a change where this doesn't happen to other drivers in the future. So if you guys can help with that, that would be great. The testimony is written down. I changed a couple of words. 'Cause I'm a little nervous. This is my dad. So if this works, help him to see, like, I'm constantly seeing this every day and it's very hurtful. So I just hope this helps. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, and you can submit the full testimony in writing.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Moskowitz from Voyager Global Mobility. We, with our two brands, Buggy and Fast Track, are the largest weekly rental for TLC drivers. As a weekly rental company, we only succeed and thrive when drivers are earning and survive. They can return the car anytime they want, anytime the industry isn't working for them. First, I just wanted to applaud the council for pushing through the PIP bill. And I wanted to ask that you not take your foot off the pedal. I think we know that there's a looming insurance crisis. American Transit is completely insolvent and is going to be screwing over thousands and thousands of drivers. At the same time, the TLC has seemingly abdicated its responsibility to solve this. They point the finger at the state points its finger back. So in that circus, I would ask the committee to keep the pressure on and continue to find common sense solutions to the insurance crisis. I wanted to talk today also about 139 or 135, the composition of the council. I actually think that it would be a great opportunity to push that all seat holders, all commissioners hold a TLC license, not necessarily that they be historical drivers, but every commissioner should have to go through the TLC process. I myself, I am not a full-time driver. I have a TLC license. I know what it takes. I took the course. I took the test. I know the rules. And the people who are actually regulating hundreds of thousands of drivers should also, I think, be able to pass the test and should know the rules that they're regulating. So I would push that all commissioners, after they're nominated, have, let's say, 3 months, which is what it takes to get your TLC license. But that's the direction I would like to go. I think that there is an overall lack of industry knowledge and expertise on the commission itself. Commissioner Doe brings great knowledge, but as a whole, he said himself, there's only one commissioner who has experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the panel. We'll call up the next panel. Leroy Morrison. Andrew Greenblatt, Michelle Doughton, Argan Lai, Danara Zapel-Sova. Please adhere to the 2-minute time limit. You may begin when you take the mic off of mute.
First, I want to say good morning to Madam Chair, her staff. Thank you so much for having this hearing on behalf of New York City Commuter Vans. My name is Leroy Morrison. I'm the president for New York City Commuter Van Association. And Madam Chair, there's a lot of work that need to be done, and we really appreciate what you did for commuter vans. We've been going through a lot, but with these bills that you're doing now, it should help the commuter van industry because we've been around for over 40 years, going through a lot of problems. Whenever New York City is in crisis, they call them commuter vans. But what we want to do is feel that we should be treated like a first-class citizen in New York City and in America. Commuter van, we have insurance problems. I went out and we raised over $55 million for the next 5 years so they can bring back the commuter vans in New York City. But with these legislation that you're doing now, it will help the commuter van industry and it'll help us move forward. And we thank you for the great work. We only have a couple minutes, but we've been fighting the insurance crisis for over decades. A lot of these for our industry also, if they would have come alongside us, because we have great bills in Albany, but there was no support. We have bills passed, but when it's supposed to be the governor sign it, there's no one there to help the governor and say, hey, listen, look, we have American Transit. That's the only insurance company in New York City. And also the assigned risk is not the way to go about it. Commuter van in Queens are paying $40,000 a year. In Brooklyn is $45,000 a year. So what we did, we come up with captive insurance. We come up with risk retention group for our industry, black cars, limos for our, but there's no one there to help us. They seem to pull back. So what we're saying here, let's come together as one for hire industry. And also City DOT need to give us more stops. They take down the commuter stops, they don't put them back up. So it leave the ridership in the street, you know. I'm sorry, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. The chair, council members, my name is Dinara Janpisova and I represent Independent Drivers Guild. I'm a woman, an immigrant, and Uber and Lyft driver in New York City. I've been driving for the past 8 years, and I'm here to support Intro 1000 bill. Drivers like me spend 10 to 12 hours behind the wheel. And yes, there's a few legal places to stop, but nowhere near enough for the size of our workforce. Most of the time, restaurants refuse us, saying that we have to order something. Coffee shops, they lock their bathrooms. Buy a drink for the code. Daily groceries, they just kick us out. Parks, they're too crowded, and they close very early. So what happens? Accidents. I've been there. To avoid it, I dehydrate myself. I don't drink water, coffee on purpose, just to get through my shift. That's not healthy, not fair, and not what is world-class city should be putting its workers through. The other day near LaGuardia Airport, I saw the sign, TLC drivers, no urinating, no dumping. Cute, right? But when you give thousands of drivers only a few legal options, what do you expect? Sometimes I see bottles of urine left on the street. Businesses wash down their sidewalks because of the smell. And let's be honest, tourists already say New York smells like a pee. Intro 1000 is not a rocket science. It gives drivers a legal, metered sports to stop for 30 minutes, grab a food, stretch, and yes, use a bathroom like a normal people. The city makes some money, sidewalk stays cleaner, drivers get dignity. Everyone wins. Council members, I know you care about the city. Please do the right thing, pass Intro 1000. Give us health, dignity, and give to the city clean streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Brooks Powers and members of the committee. My name is Andrew Greenblatt, and I'm the Policy Director of the Independent Drivers Guild, or IDG. Thank you for this opportunity to testify in support of Intro 1000. As a nonprofit affiliate of the Machinists Union, the IDG represents more than 140,000 Uber and Lyft drivers throughout the state and hundreds of thousands of more across the country. Our drivers need to find a safe and legal place to take a break. This isn't just a matter of convenience, it's a matter of health, safety, and basic dignity. The 80,000 FHV drivers in the city have only 31 relief stands. That's one relief stand for every 2,500 drivers. I want to correct something the TLC said. They gave a higher number, and the number that they gave includes all of the relief stands that are only available to yellow cab drivers and not available to other FHV drivers. So it's one for every 2,500 drivers. It doesn't work. Now, the DOT testified today that they're working on it. The first time we met with them on this issue was 2019. They told us they would work on it. It is 6 years later, and they've added exactly 0 relief stands in 6 years. At this rate, over the next 100 years, they'll add 0 relief stands. This is not a solution to this problem. Intro 1000 is a common sense solution. It would permit FHV drivers to use underused space. You see this empty space all the time when you're driving through the city. The drivers would be charged for this, so the DOT also talked about how this would cost money for them to fix the meters, the meter apps. Actually, what it is revenue positive. We're talking about putting revenue into the Treasury and giving drivers the dignity they need. Intro 1000 is a win-win for everybody. It would improve the driver's health, reduce traffic congestion on bridges and tunnels, and shorten wait times for passengers. We urge you to pass this legislation.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Dotton. I'm here to support Intro 1000, requesting that it be passed, allowing basic human decency to enable FHV drivers to stop for 30 minutes, 4 times a day, to get some food, use the restroom, and stretch their legs, to avoid possible illnesses caused by delayed release of bodily functions. Drivers are not asking for too much, just the ability to be treated with some compassion and empathy in their daily stresses. Yes, stress happens when they had to worry about a ticket. They had to take a chance to stop somewhere illegal with no other choice. Intro 1000 will alleviate that additional stress, allowing them peace of mind and human compassion for their daily needs without being ticketed. FHV drivers are being treated like an ATM. They are faced with the possibility of having to purchase an electric vehicle by 2030 without a lack of charging stations and hours off the roads, causing them valuable fears. Reconsideration of the 2030 start end time should be made. Then, like another monkey on their back, here comes the possibility of AVs taking away their jobs, leaving them with new debts from the purchase of an electric vehicle and no way to feed their families. We want to focus to be on the workers, not the billionaires lavishly spending the money that workers help them earn. Like the man who buried himself in a precious car. How selfish. Let's think about the ripple effect on the economy, the thousands of jobs lost, the domino effect on small businesses who rely on the support of these businesses, and also the safety of the riders, trafficking, sex trafficking as well. I'd like to also say I agree with Intro 139. However, there must be a licensed drivers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Arjun Lal, and I'm a for-hire vehicle driver. I'm from Greece, and I've been representing drivers who operate with app-based trips. I'm here today to voice a strong support for Intro 1000. Thank you to the Council for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the thousands of drivers who keep the city moving. I've been driving across all the 5 boroughs for years, early mornings, late nights, weekends, holidays. I've spent time away from my family, time away from my friends, to drive and to move New York. I take pride in my work, but every day one serious issue continues to affect us, the lack of access to restrooms and legal places to stop. Let me give you an example. One night around 10 p.m., just before Christmas, I was working in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, and suddenly got hit with a terrible stomachache. It was the night before Christmas, so there was no public restrooms, nowhere I could stop to park legally. I had no choice but to drive all the way to Queens to find a bathroom. I lost time, I missed rides. There are people traveling, that could have been revenue. It was all for a basic human need. This just isn't my story. It happens to drivers every single day. Some are even ticketed $100 for pulling over briefly. That's a full day's pay gone. Intro 1000 matters. It would provide drivers with safe, legal places to stop. It would protect their health, reduce illegal parking, improve traffic flow, and bring in revenue through meters instead of fines. We are not asking for special treatment. We're asking for basic dignity. We're all humans. We're essential workers. We keep the city moving during everything that the city has gone through. We deserve to do our job safely and humanely. Intro 1000 is a safe, smart, and simple solution. Please vote to pass this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to this panel. The next panel we'll hear from will include Badhavi Desai, Richard Chow, Mohammed, Adalgisa Payero Diaria, and Hector German. You can begin as soon as you're ready by turning on the mic, and we ask everyone to respect the 2-minute limit. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the council. Thank you for having this hearing today. Also, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to serve on the commuter van roundtable. Really appreciate the 2 bills that are on the table today and do support them. With regards to Intro 1000, it was really stunning to hear the administration say that their answer is, quote, we're going to work to increase stands. I mean, drivers have been hearing that ad nauseum for like decades in this city. Even when there were less than 10,000 yellow cabs operating, there were not enough stands for the drivers to take a break. Now imagine when the number of operating vehicles on any given day is over 80,000, by no means are we close enough to the number of stands that drivers actually need. They're serving 158 million passengers in just the first 6 months of this year alone. They are critical to the economic fabric of this city. They bring in revenue every single day, and they do it at the expense not only of their financial security, because they begin every day at a negative, paying the expenses, but they continue to do it at the expense of their health and safety. Having enough stands is the least that the city can provide to the men and women who work in this industry. But the bill needs to be amended. It should say that these spots would be available to TLC drivers. We don't want to see this bill become a Trojan horse where in the future, AV companies, it may be Waymo today, Uber itself has said they expect their prototype in another 4 to 5 years to come in and use these spaces as a means to basically, do mechanic on their vehicle. These spaces should be for all TLC drivers that are operating TLC licensed vehicles.
Thank you. And I do have a quick question for you regarding Intro 139. Just wanted to get your perspective on that.
Sure. So, I think the concern would be that you're adding 2 commissioners, so it would be 11. The mayor's office would then have the majority. They would have 6 and the council would have 5. Now, I remember the days when Rudolph Giuliani was mayor, and we could barely get near TLC without the threat of being arrested. It's an important balance between the council and the mayoral administration, no matter who that mayor is going to be. So I think that increasing the number is I think it's going to throw off what the actual goal of the legislation is.
And just to be clear, the intent was to try to give drivers more of a voice in terms of the direction of regulations and things that impact their day-to-day life. So is there amendments to this bill that you think would be appropriate to keep the balance that you speak of, but also keep the spirit of or the intent of the bill?
Yes, I think if you just keep the number the same, but you have the requirement that at least some of those members must be licensed drivers, active drivers, I think then you do address the spirit and at the same time maintain the important checks and balances between the council and the administration.
Thank you.
My name is Mohammed. I used to drive yellow cab and green cab since 2000. and now I'm driving Uber and Lyft since 2010. I support Intro 1000. Just I have 3 objections regarding this bill. The only objection I have first is to the waiting time. It should be 90 minutes, not 30 minutes. 30 minutes is proposed to serve Wyoming in future coming up, not the drivers. And secondly, to ensure the drivers has reserved that spot, and that would not be will be achieved by to keep that spot to the driver, to boot any other cars or any other vehicle or towing away if it's not commercial vehicle or TLC cars. Thirdly, all TLC drivers should be get the benefit for that bill. Yellow cab, green cab, all TLC drivers. We have to talk here about the drivers, not the vehicle. So the driver, if he need a break, he need more than 30 minutes. We have to keep in our mind Manhattan is too crowded. If I park my car 30 minutes, it's not enough to go have a break or line for a bathroom, or if I go into a hearing, even here. If I have 188 middle lane, I can't park there in my spot. All the parking have taken by the New York City, the New York City vehicle or police car or other vehicle. So it's very hard for the driver to find his own spot. The city never give ticket for the police car who park in our spot. This should not be, should be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And we see that in Queens also with folks in the commuter van designated spots as well. And it's definitely, problematic in terms of that.
Hello, good morning, Madam Chair and City Council member. My name is Richard Chow. I'm New York Taxi Walking Line member. I'm a yellow cab driver. Most of the yellow cab drivers are walking in the city. Most of the time, the traffics are very bad and very hard to find the parking spot, to the break time, to go to the restroom or lunch or dinner. Yellow cab driver, HFV driver need more relief stand and then permit to use the commercial parking spot. So up to 30 minutes for four times a day. So we got to avoid the ticket. Every time I went to the bedroom, come back, I get a ticket, $115. So this is unfair. So a lot of drivers has a problem with they cannot go into on time to the bathroom, get a kidney stone problem. They have the kidney stone problem. Myself, and a few months ago, I have a kidney stone problem. I have only diabetes, the high blood pressure, so many, the health issue. So driver need more the parking spot to go on time, go to the restroom, avoid visit to the doctor office. So those drivers going to be more healthier. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Adalgisa Payero Diara. I'm the president of UTANI, the Union Taxi of Drivers in New York City. I'm here today in support of Intro 1000, the bill that will be allowing drivers to park at commercial parking spot. As a female driver, we face constant difficulties when it comes to using the restrooms while working. We face the hardship of getting tickets just to get to use the restroom or grab something to eat. It is important that council members today approve this bill, giving the 200,000 TLC drivers a relief to be able to eat or use the restroom or just take a break to stretch their legs without encountering a parking violation that will affect the income of that day and also create a hardship for our family. Also, I want to thank everyone that is here supporting this bill and also plead with our council members regarding Waymo's autonomous vehicles being tested in our city and how this can destroy the thousands of lives of all these men and women that are here and their family. Please say no to Waymo and keep our city safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es
Héctor Leonardo Germán, de UTANI, Unión de Taxistas de Nueva York. Estoy aquí en representación de la organización y de la comunidad taxista de Nueva York en sentido general. He estado aquí en varias ocasiones como observador de las audiencias y he participado en otras audiencias, pero yo considero que esta es una de las más importantes porque ese bill, el 1000, es a favor de nuestra vida, de nuestra salud. Tengo 24 años como taxista y en este tiempo he tenido que visitar varios hospitales, clínicas y causas para ver, y casa de compañeros, para verlo morir porque sus riñones, los kidneys, no le funcionan. Es importante, hoy he visto cuántas personas se ha ido al baño a hacer necesidad, porque eso es fisiología. Entonces nosotros le pedimos a ustedes, señores concejales, que ese bill lo firmen para el bienestar de todos los taxistas de Nueva York. Tenemos muchas áreas que a veces llevamos un pasajero y estamos pensando dónde vamos a hacer esa necesidad, y cuando llegamos a la parte baja de Nueva York nos encontramos que esas áreas son prohibidas solamente para vehículos de placa comercial. Nosotros pagamos una placa comercial y tenemos un seguro comercial. En otro lado, con los carros autónomos, nosotros le pedimos que escuchen a 200,000 familias que podían quedar sin trabajo. Nosotros somos los taxistas, los verdaderos amigos de esta ciudad. Nosotros somos los que en todas temporadas siempre estamos ahí, 365 días del año y a cualquier hora y en cualquier lugar y en cualquier temporada, ya sea de nieve, frío, calor, ahí estamos nosotros. Por favor, please, sign the bill 1000.
Thank you. Thank you to the panel. The next panel we'll hear from will include Zach Miller, Jose Altamirano, Jose Lebron, Peter Mazir, Iman Ramani Doster. You can begin once you come off of mute. We ask that everyone adhere to the 2-minute rule.
Good morning, Chair Brooks Powers. Thank you for holding this hearing. My name is Zach Miller. I am the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Trucking Association of New York. I do have full written testimony submitted, but there are just a couple of points that I do want to make. And I do want to start off by saying this is Truck Driver Appreciation Week, and the challenges that our professional truck drivers face are very similar to the challenges that our FHV drivers face in terms of how long they're on the road, what they need in terms of places to rest, in terms of human dignity. We agree with that. Our challenge with Intro 1000 as it's written is we see it creating more conflict between our professional drivers rather than coexistence. We do believe there's a pathway to work together on curb solutions that do provide that dignity for everybody, but Intro 1000 as written isn't it. And there are a couple of points I do want to make in terms of what is happening in the commercial loading zones right now, because we did poll our members about this. They're saying that they see loading zones blocked by non-commercial vehicles about 35% of the time. There's trash, construction equipment, and debris that also obstructs access. Specialized fleets face longer distances between zones and destinations, adding to inefficiency. And our drivers regularly receive summons for bus lane, bike lane, and double parking violations that stem from a lack of accessible legal space. And this does increase the drivers getting idling tickets as well as criminal summonses for blocking traffic. And it takes, on average, about 15 to 30 minutes for a truck driver to find a place to park, which again adds to congestion and inefficiency. Another thing we'd like to see added to any bill moving forward is a reporting requirement. related to how many loading zones there are, how many are added year over year, where they are, their usage patterns. As always, we're happy to continue to work with the council and DOT on solutions.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate the fact that you put a caveat, like if it was to move forward, what could help to make it a more responsible bill. So thank you for that.
Good morning, Chair. Pleasure to be with you. My name is Jose Altamirano. I'm the president of the Livery Base Owners Association. We represent about 250 livery bases serving communities across New York City, especially in areas underserved by traditional transit. I want to address several of the bills today. Starting with Intro 1000, we are in favor. Our drivers often can't find places to legally park to use restrooms during long shifts. This is not optional. Impacts their safety, their health, and dignity. Our bases have bathrooms. Our community car service have bathrooms. An additional solution could be giving TLC parking in front or near the bases so that drivers can be able to use the facilities there as well. In regards to Intro 1346, we support the study in principle. Liveries fill many of the same gaps commuter vans are intended to address, serving neighborhoods where public transit is scarce or inconvenient. But a similar effort, the Black Car and Livery Task Force, was done already, and its findings have largely gone unimplemented. TLC studies need to result in real policy changes, particularly regarding licensing cap and operational flexibility to allow the sector to scale. The current system caps FHP licenses and places high cost burdens, making it very difficult for newcomers, especially immigrant drivers, to enter or transition. We urge the council to expand livery vehicle licenses, offer financial support or subsidies for EVs, and simplify licensing process so more drivers can be onboarded. Regard to Intro 0139, adding 2 additional commissioners, we respectfully oppose. Increasing the number of commissioners sounds good in theory, but in practice it adds a lot of bureaucracy. It risks slowing decision making. We also would like to say that we like the spirit of the bill, and we would, if within the current 9, 2 of them could be licenses, we would definitely be in support of that. In regard to Intro 0115, we are in favor. And just want to make sure that the vehicles, and there's a plan, because a lot of these vehicles are very expensive for our drivers because of the additional.
Thank you. Can you turn the mic on, please?
Oh, sorry. Hello, good morning. My name is Jose Lebron. I'm the president of NYIBU, that is New York Independent Drivers Unions. My visit today, I'm so younger on the driver industry, only 2 years. Only 2 years, and my kidneys are working so bad. Just that because we had to work a lot of hours to do the money, and then we don't have any way where we can stop and go to the bathroom. That is for me that I'm a younger man. And I think about that old people, that are old men that are working every day, working so hard to get the money to their house. This is a problem because the city doesn't know who we are. We are the driver. We are the people that move the economy of the country. And then we don't know why we have that arrangement about the authority. When someone that have a TLC haven't stopped anywhere, they are haunting us. They are fighting against us. I don't know why. We are here because this bill is too much important for the life of the driver. And the driver is I don't know how to say this. If one time all the driver be organized and stop in the city will get in chaos. But anybody want to see that, and they are haunting to us. The problem is not only about this bill, and this bill is too much important. That's why I'm here. The problem is the people that have to be taking care of us and are in arrangement with us. When we talk about the MTA and we watch in DOT and we talk about the TLC, I was hearing today, Bidu, talking some beautiful words about us, but that is not the truth. That is not the truth, because when we work, and I want only to say this, when we work and one customer pay $100, we only get $35.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good work.
Good morning. My name is Peter Mazur, and I'm General Counsel to the Metropolitan Taxi Cab Board of Trade, a 73-year-old association representing owners and operators of licensed medallion taxi cabs. We operate a full-service driver center that has provided services to more than 15,000 drivers in traffic court, oath, and criminal courts, and provided a variety of other services to them, all at no charge. 10 years ago, our taxi cabs were moving about 500,000 passengers a day. Then Uber and Lyft came along, and then we hit a pandemic, and we were down to very close to zero. Over time, we have seen ridership slowly return, but it is not at the levels that we had previously experienced. Yet, to many New Yorkers, cabs remain an essential service. We provide more than half of our cabs are accessible to persons with disabilities. We receive no subsidy, and we provided over $2 billion to the MTA in surcharges and fees. There are still many challenges facing this industry today as we embark on a slow, gradual return. They include the high cost of insurance, the high cost of vehicles, coupled by the lack of available financing. Lenders have little confidence, in large part because unlicensed operators and others are breaking the law, depressing drivers and owners' incomes with enforcement virtually non-existent. Today, you're considering a bill to promote strict enforcement against violators in the commuter van industry. We'd like to see that expanded to include enforcement against violators affecting the taxi and for-hire industries as well. Illegal activity at the airports and other transportation hubs are a major concern. Finally, I would like to address one of the bills to add driver representation to an expanded TLC Board of Commissioners. The Administrative Code already provides for an advisory board with owner and driver representation. This advisory board has not met for years and should be reconstituted. I would also point out that TLC commissioners serve an adjudications role, hearing appeals of license revocation cases, and having licensee representation on the board with these functions may present a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, good afternoon. It is good afternoon. Okay. To the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, thank you so much for allowing me to share my testimony. My name is Iman Ramawi Doster, and I am a senior community organizer for the Disability Justice Program at New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. I'm also an access-ride customer and a lifelong New Yorker. And for the record also, I am disabled. I am not the ADA community. Not sure what exactly that means. Yes, the MTA started a pilot program with electric vans for the access-ride paratransit dedicated service to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But only 15 electric vehicles have been put into service as a key part of the MTA's goals to decrease emissions by 85% by 2040. And while the MTA and the TLC are two different entities, they are partners. The MTA's access-ride on-demand pilot program, which is in phase 3, needs TLC vehicles to be healthier, not only for disabled customers who use them, but also for the drivers who drive them and for our environment. So there is a solution. We hope that the work with the City Council to pass the legislation requiring the TLC to issue a request for proposals, an RFP, for a full accessible zero-emission vehicle model that can be integrated into the city's huge for-hire vehicle and taxi fleet. Accessible EVs would be paratransit riders, taxi riders, and users of major rideshare apps alike. Second, the bill that New York Lawyers for the Public Interest is working on, S5552 or A6635, to establish the Green Accessible Transition Authority, or GATA, would provide financial support for for-hire vehicle drivers and paratransit service to purchase these accessible electric vehicles. The legislation was introduced in May 2025 and aims to incentivize drivers to operate. And I'll submit the rest of it.
Thank you. Thank you to this panel. I just want to remind people if we could keep all comments contained to the hearing topic of today and the pieces of legislation. Thank you to the panel again. The next panel will include Raul Rivera, Christopher Leon Johnson, Anwar Malik, Guan Lin, and Kang Shahui.
Raul, you up, bro? You're up. No, you're up.
Yeah. You can start once you come off of mute. I ask that everyone keep their comments restrained to the 2 minutes and also stay on topic. I'm going to just call the names again, make sure that everyone is still here. Raul Rivera, Christopher Leon Johnson, Anwar Malik, okay, Guan Lin, Kang Choli, Kali Katak, Larbi at Above. Raul, you can begin once you come off mute. Please adhere to the 2-minute rule.
Good afternoon. My name is Raul Rivera. I'm a TLC driver advocate. Currently not driving, but I do have 23,000 trips with Uber and Lyft. My license, according to everybody else, is suspended or deactivated, which is a lie. I'm in the process of renewing. It's about $500 to renew the license. I want to touch on Intro 139. Intro 139 comes from a petition that we drafted in 2018 to reform the Taxi Limousine Commission, a petition that you have. We spoke to your policy director, Jack Siegenthaler. He knows about that bill and others that we have. We shared that petition with you. We wanted you to sign that petition. It doesn't have all the answers, but it's a start, it's a tool. And the most important thing is to reform the TLC, an agency that's 50 years old, that has 12 suicides under their belt. We shared the list. We have a list of the drivers, and that's what we need. We don't need bathrooms. There's bathrooms everywhere. Somebody could get a bottle and use that. It works fine for me. We want the reform of the TLC. I spoke to the commissioner, I had meetings with him. Mayor Adams signed our petition to reform the TLC, many others, Richie Torres, Jumani Williams, everybody. I don't know why it's so hard to call for the reform of an agency that's 50 years old. That's 50 years old. We're driving a vehicle. We're not driving a rocket ship. You know, it's ridiculous that you can't stand up, or anyone to stand up and call for the reform of the TLC. Mateo was here. Mateo was not even a taxi driver, you know? He's an entrepreneur, it says it right on his website. He's never done a trip in his life. He can't give us a press conference. We're trying to give him a chance. Everybody gets a chance with me, everybody, until you lose that chance. I think we gave you a good chance. You know, I think an illegal alien coming from across the border has an easier chance to have a meeting.
Thank you.
Finally, I say, if you support Zoran Mandani, you support an anti-Semite.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Hello. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. Thank you, Chair Brooks Powers. First off, I want to make a statement both to the IDG /Justice for At Workers and the TWA / the Worker Justice Project, Los Doministos. You two nonprofits, you two organizations have direct access to the chair of the city council, not like Raul Rivera. You guys have both had direct access to the chair of the city council. The issue I see here with both of these organizations, I'm getting sick of it. I think you're getting sick of it too, is that these two organizations are divided of what's happening here, because all it's about is I'm president of this, I'm president of that, titles, salaries, all the stuff like that. You two organizations are both getting unfairly deactivated, all four of you guys, WJP, TWA, even Raul Rivera, all you organizations, IDG, Justice for At Workers, all you guys getting deactivated, unfairly deactivated by Uber. Just like this past Friday, they had a rally saying that we had to stop unfair deactivation. I support that. I support Intro 1332 by Justice Brown. No, not the hearing for that, but I'm here to show my support for that bill. I was able to testify with Julie Minnis here, so to put that on record, I support Intro 1132 to stop unfair deactivations of the deliveristas. But I support every bill to stop unfair deactivations of everybody in this room. But you organizations right here, both IDG and TWA and the Worker Justice Project and Justice Advocates need to come together and come together with the chair and say that fuck Uber, fuck Lyft, fuck DoorDash, fuck Grubhub, and fuck all these. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, language. forget all these organizations. Y'all need to stick together. Stop being divided. Stop worrying about salaries and come together at the table and say, we got to fight back against the YAP. So I'm here to show my support to all you guys here, but stop the division, stop the bullshit, all right? Stop it, okay? Thank you so much and enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you, Brooks Powers. Enjoy your day. I support Intro 1132. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. My name is Anwar Malik. I'm going to start off by saying every driver needs a break and parking to take better care of their health. We're not asking for a lot, just to be allowed to work more safely by taking breaks without stress. Drivers worry about drinking water because they would have to use the restroom, and that ultimately takes a toll on their health. Kidney failure, other organ failures, diabetes, and so much more. I've seen countless, like probably at least 24 drivers with diabetes in this industry get it because of this industry. You guys have the power to pass this bill, and don't let another driver go through health issues under your watch. Quote from Dr. Sarah Batistich, director of IDG's Worker Healthy Living Program. She says, one of the trademarks of a modern society is regular access to clean water and sanitary bathrooms. Denying access to these basic services can create a public health issue. Without easy access to clean restrooms, people run the risk of contracting bladder and urinary tract infection, as well as bowel problems. For-hire vehicle drivers keep our city running. Ensuring that drivers have access to facilities to eat, rest, and use the bathrooms is about treating them as the essential workers they are, and will be a powerful step towards treating them with the dignity and respect they deserve. Oh, for Intro 1000, the second stress is about Waymo, self-driving cars. How much time do I have left? You guys gotta watch out for us, for all the taxi drivers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think it's afternoon already, so good afternoon to everybody. My name is Khalid Khatak, and I am an Uber Lyft driver. There are so many other concerns, of course, that we face on a daily basis, but one of the main concern is the bathrooms and the parking areas for the Uber and Lyft drivers, and all the other, of course, the yellow cab, green cab, and all the other drivers. Besides that, one of the guys just gave the testimony saying that he had to go to Queens. I don't know if he went there once or twice, but in my case, I always either try to go to Queens or Brooklyn to be out of the city, so at least I can use a restroom in peace without worrying for getting a ticket for $150-some. Or parking, even if I have to go and get me something, there is no room or there is no specific areas for us to park. Besides that, besides going to the bathroom or getting something to drink or eat, we have so many, of course, that's what makes America great, because they're like all different races, different nationalities, different religions under just one roof all the time. We have guys that would like to take a prayer break. Earlier, a brother mentioned, one of the drivers mentioned that 30 minutes is not enough. He was asking for 90 minutes. I won't go to that extent to have a 90-minute break, because, taking a 90-minute break, well, that means I'll be losing money if I'm on a 90-minute break. So at least, if not 30 minutes, we also would like to extend this if we have some religious obligations, instead of like standing on a sidewalk and doing our religious obligations. If we have the time, 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, we go and at least utilize that time towards our prayer as well. And I'm in full support of the Intro with 1000. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I just want to apologize for the chamber. It's 210 years old, and people with profanity coming in and saying this is such a disgrace to people coming here. and disrespecting a 210 years old building. If the building can speak, it would throw you out. But the subject of today is, an issue that it's been for far too long, something that is devastating to drivers, including myself. When I started driving in 2007, I faced, ticket left and right. I was not familiar with the ticket system in New York City until I got the ticket on my mail. And it was quite devastating. You work the whole day, you're about to make $200, $300 to go home, and then you hit with $115 tickets, if not even more, tickets in the mail that you don't know about. One of the issues that everybody is addressing today is the bathroom, but this is not about the bathroom only, right? This is about human dignity, right? If I need to use the bathroom right now, I can just close this mic and go to the bathroom. But if I'm driving my vehicle and I cannot park my car, you know the stress that's going to cause me? Because the fear that I will have to have to pay the city $115 on a daily basis just for me to use the bathroom, that's unacceptable. And I said this again, we need to pass this bill. And Chairwoman, you've been in this chamber for a long time, and you understand the struggle that drivers are going through on a daily basis. So there is not a fact that I need to put on the table for you because you understand the struggle already. But what is important is that this bill, Intro 1000, passed yesterday before today, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. Please refrain from clapping or you'll be removed from the chamber. Thank you to the panel. We'll now hear from the next panel, which will be Sharif, maybe? Toybayev? Okay. Liaquat Ali. Okay. Henry Zhu. Rangui Ji. Fanj Meng. Okay, gonna try this again. Shraza Toybayev. Henry Zhu. Rangui Ji. Fanj Meng. Ziolang Peng. Sonam Lama. There we go. David Obisant. Pedro Acosta. Ziolan Peng. Xiaolang Peng. Manje Kamel Zengra. Thank you. You may begin when you come off of mute. I just ask that you adhere to the 2-minute rule. You may begin. Please turn the mic on.
Okay.
There we go.
Good afternoon, the Honorable Chair, Council members. My name is Liaquat Ali. I'm a proud member of the Independent Drivers Guild and have been a full-time for-hire vehicle driver in New York City for over 2 decades. I come before you today not just a driver, but as a father, a provider, and a human being asking for dignity. There are over 100,000 active FHB drivers in New York City. Most of us work 10 to 12-hour shifts, often without a legal place to stop and use the restroom. For drivers with medical conditions, especially diabetes or prostate issues, which are common among men over 50, timely access to restroom is not optional. It's a matter of health and survival. Holding urine for extended periods can lead to urinary tract infections, kidney damages, and also chronic conditions. Ignoring these needs put our long-term well-being at serious risk. We are not asking for a special treatment. We're asking for the right to briefly park on metered commercial parking zones so we can access restrooms without fear of tickets or harassment. But parking alone is not enough. We also urge the city to mandate that restaurants allow FHB drivers access to their restrooms. Currently, most restaurants restrict restrooms to paying customers, and many of us are turned away even when we offer to pay. I am 58 years old, and I need to stay healthy so I can continue driving for at least another 5-6 years to support my 5 members family. I pay taxes, I follow the rules, but the city must recognize our humanity. This bill is not just about parking, it's about public health, worker dignity, and basic human rights. Please stand with us. Pass this bill on humanitarian grounds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is David Obicent. Thank you for everyone who speak before me. I think this bill already passed. I don't have to repeat everything people already said. Only 3 words I'm going to put on the table right now is S, T, and P. The S is safety. I think New York City is going to be the most safety city in the world. But for us drivers, we all, every day, we try for safety. Now, I think the most important thing for us is our driver. Those drivers who speak before me, I think they mentioned about the safety issue now. The second word is T, the time. For most of 10 or 15 years, I think the DOT and the commissioner who's working on those data, they don't give a special detail about those data. That's time limit now. And the third one is about when you said safety and time. Now, I don't know what gonna be the next gonna be doing now, because they try to put our job on jeopardy now to put some Uber driver on the city. I don't know how those safety is gonna be an issue for us. And looking forward, anyone who's driving need some time. And the time is for ourselves and for our family. We bring so much money on the table for the city. I think we didn't deserve those little bills like this one. Like I said before, this bill already passed. I don't have to repeat all those things. Thank you for the safety. Thank you for your time. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonam Lama. I'm a proud member of Independent Driver Guild, a driver, advocate, and FSB driver. I'd like to thank your Chair Committee Honorable Councilmember Selena Brooks, your staffs, and your colleagues for giving this opportunity to testify. I also don't want to miss some of the council members who has been a fighter behind us. Pedro and I we have been reaching out to all the city council members, and we did email you as well. However, we didn't get it. But most of the city council members did respond to us, and we went there. And I think now we have 9 co-sponsors for this bill. They were all amazing. They welcome in their office, and they gave us a very good hospitable because they know that we are fighting for basic needs. I'm a driver advocate. I always walk with my members. Yesterday, I slept around 2 a.m. and wake up around 5 a.m. I had a very bad a food that I ate during midnight. And guess what? Today, I'm happy because I'm inside this room because I get to get a good bathroom, and I use 3 times. This is the real example because I lead myself as an example, and I give you a fair example what happened. And it's not about something that we are asking or looking to chase. It's just the basic things that we're asking for in front of Chairwoman. I know you are a champion for people like us. We were here when we celebrated the Dasai Festival in the our lunar commercial parking stuff. We saw you. I was very happy. And just wanted to let you know that as a TLC vehicle, we pay commercial license fee, we pay commercial registration, and we do pay commercial, the insurance as well. So, but we excluded to park in commercial parking space. All we asking for 30 minutes, not more than that. And definitely it's gonna help a lot of drivers. Drivers cannot afford to get a diabetes or kidney issues. And please do support Inter 1000. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this so important bill. My name is Pedro Acosta, and I have been driving for more than 25 years already. I am here to support strongly the Intro 1000. It's something that we need for our health. I want to remind you that we are essential workers, and we have contributed to the city more than $1 billion in 2018 when they implement the congestion tax. So we have been appointing to the city a lot. Remember, we are servicing every day more than 27,000, almost 28,000 dispatch trips by the MTA and SSRI. Most of those trips are for people with elderly people or people with disabilities who come from different boroughs to the city. So we need to be in the city, so when they call back to get back to the town, to the boroughs, we have to be in the city. So if we don't have access to the bathroom, we have to be going out from the city to Brooklyn or to Queens to use the bathroom. So we need to have access to those commercial spaces here in the city, so we don't have to be out when somebody needs our service. I want to remind you, like my brother Sonan told you, we pay commercial insurance. We pay the average of $8,000 insurance every year, while a regular insurance is about probably $1,500 $2,000 a year. We pay also a commercial registration, which is about $476 every year, when a regular registration is maybe $120 every 2 years. So we also pay a commercial license to TLC. Without it, we cannot do this work. So we need this to pass, and we encourage you to help us to this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Majid Kamal Zigrar. I'm a TLC driver and FHV driver since 2017. I advocate for driver too, and thank you for the opportunity to give us to speak today. This bill is actually essential to the driver, like driver is essential to the city. I totally 100% agree with all my fellow drivers. This bill will protect us, not only us, our health too. I will take the opportunity to speak about, since my fellow drivers said everything I want to say, and they still have 1 minute, so I would like to speak about another issue, which is a robotaxi. And this Waymo is coming here to the city and taking obviously they're gonna take out jobs. So I drive EV Tesla car for a year, and I always use self-driver to see when is the extermination of our driver and when our family is gonna starve because the Waymo. But the truth about, I wanna know who did give the test and approved for these cars, where those cars, I'm gonna say this because I know New Yorkers care about their pets and their kids. So me driving, self-driving, I have noticed that this car, I'm talking about Tesla, that offering $30 to do a test in New York City, does not recognize dogs, does not recognize stroller. So if you see somebody crossing intersection with dog, the car does not see the dog. I drive Tesla. I was going to bring those documentation so you see exactly what I'm talking about, but I can bring more evidence to show. Stroller too, it's like if two people crossing and having stroller, you see just two people crossing.
Thank you. sir.
You are very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you to this panel. The next panel we'll have will include Jackie Lin, Kevin Zhuang, Lisa Rosa, Desmond West, Paul Bader, Jimo Uli, and I'm sorry, I cannot read the last name. You can get started, just come off and mute, ask everybody, adhere to the 2-minute rule. If you have testimony that goes over 2 minutes, you can always submit written testimony to be a part of the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this hearing and thank you for having me. I'd like to start off with a joke that I would always say. In New York, you either have 90 jobs or 90 roommates. I happen to have 90 jobs, and with that being said, I've been a TLC rideshare driver for a little bit over 10 years. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've been a concierge for residential high-rise luxury buildings in New York City for 20 years. I've always had a love for TLC driving because it's always been a security blanket for me. When I became a mom for the first time, it allowed me to have flexible hours. When I wanted to pursue anything entrepreneurial, it allowed me to do so. When I would work for employment and I was being treated unfairly for whatever reasons, I always had a security net so that, you know what, I didn't really need the job. So it always was my escape route to just still be able to make ends meet. Just last week, I was wrongfully terminated from my concierge position. I was making top pay. You know, we were fighting to go union, and for them to ununionize, I was terminated. Right now, I'm fighting that case as well. But you know what? If I didn't have the TLC opportunity, I wouldn't be able to pay my bills off of unemployment with a cap of $500. You know, $500. I go to the supermarket, I buy three items, and that's already half my bill right there. Like, let alone pay a bill, pay rent. You know, let's not forget we're the ones that keep everyone going. We take you places. You know, we were here when the world was shut down. We were here during COVID. We were here when we didn't know what the virus was. We were here. We were still moving. We were out there. We didn't know what we were dealing with, and we were there. We didn't have any relief. You know, we were still paying our fees, still paying insurance right now. I'm paying $5,000 a year for insurance. You know, when I go outside just for the day, you know, it's like a battlefield out there, and we're under attack.
Thank you. I just asked that if you could submit the rest of your testimony in writing. And just to be clear, is there a piece of legislation that you are
Yeah, I want to
supporting?
say no to Waymo. I need my job. I need job security. I need parking. I need reliefs. I have perimenopause.
Anything
I have a weak bladder.
anything in terms of the legislation being heard today, support or no support? Do you?
1,000% support beyond that. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Chairwoman. My name is Desmond West. I'm the owner of Royal Rose Transportation, a commuter van that operates in Brooklyn. I want to also say thank you to the governor for bringing in the commuter van stabilization program, and I want to commend you for trying to bring the commuter van up to standard where it's supposed to be. But we cannot make progress without enforcement. That is the key to bring back the illegals back to being legal, because there's a lot of guys out there that once they test the waters of being illegal, it is more profitable being illegal than be legal, even with the subsidy that they get from the governor. So the only way that they can come back into the fold is through enforcement. Right now on Flatbush Avenue, there's only 3 legal vans and over 250 illegal vans. the commissioner state, the DOT commissioner state that they made 9 enforcements through the year on commuter van. This is the 9th month. That means there's only 1 enforcement per month. But there was only 1 enforcement on Flatbush for the whole year so far. And these guys, when the enforcement come, they don't leave because there's only 1 or 2 or 3 cars. They can work around that. They have their cell phone that they mobilize each other and come back, go around. If they know where the police are working, they detour them and come back around because there's not enough enforcement out there to stop them. So I want to commend you and the governor for what you're doing, but we need more from TLC and NYPD.
Thank you. Please turn the mic on.
Certainly, of course, I should be used to this by now. Nice to see you again, Madam Chair. My name is Paul Bader. I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I'm a former driving instructor in the city of New York. I'm a former truck driver in the city of New York. I'm a former taxi driver in the city of New York. And I have the honor of being the official designee of the City Council delegation from Queens, as you know, to be the Queens Commissioner on the TLC at the current time for the next few years. But I want to make it clear that today I'm speaking on behalf of myself individually, not on behalf of the TLC, which was earlier represented by our chair. I'm here to speak on all 5 issues quickly as I can. Some take a little more time than others. Relative to Local Law 1347, which was referenced earlier, which had to do with enforcing violations of unlicensed commuter vans. Personally, yes, I am in favor of that, and as it also has been said earlier, we would like to see that expanded. We have major problems, particularly at the airports, relative to, in spite of the fact we have 100,000 plus licensed vehicles picking up passengers, we still have a huge problem at the airports with unlicensed cars and drivers who are very aggressive in going after particularly international travelers who arrive in the city. It's a particular problem of JFK more than LaGuardia, but if we could wrap that in, that would be a big advantage. Local Law 1346, to relation required study, is also something that corresponds with that, and yes, of course, I'm in favor of that. The 115, which has to do with an app, I think that this is going to be very important. We are going to have to see what we're going to do relative to the increase in the number of EVs that are used for hire vehicles particularly. But I think that what the challenge is going to be and addressed in this app is the differentiation between an EV charging station for a taxi.
I'm just going to ask you to wrap up. If you could submit the rest of your testimony in writing.
Don't I get 2 minutes, I thought, for each piece of legislation?
No, you get 2 minutes for the full. Thank you, Mr. Bader, but you can submit the rest.
I have
in writing.
nothing. Can I speak on the other 2 quickly, please?
No, because I want to respect everyone's time. It's the same rules for everyone here. But we can get it in writing. I appreciate you testifying. Thank you, Mr. Bader.
你先说，然后后来我帮你翻译。
我先说。大家好，我是一名网约车司机。我今天来到这里，是为了支持因特1000法案。我强烈要求听证会通过这个法案。感谢给我这次机会，让我能在这里发言。大家都知道，在纽约，尤其是在曼哈顿，有很多找不到车位，我们的车位也有限。我们所有的网约车司机，我们的网约车在纽约的安全的停车位是不足的，但是有很少，成千上万的这个网约车司机呢找不到车位。我们在休息的时，我们找不到休息的地方，我们也买不到吃的东西，我们也无法上厕所。这个呢，成为了我们在纽约休息我们的停车位的问题是一个老大难。有一次我在曼哈顿肚子突然疼痛，但 我找不到车位，我只能转好几条街才找到一个公共厕所。但是没有车位，我只能围绕着公共厕所去转圈，转了3个圈，我都找不到停车位。我没有办法，只有找了一个位置停了下来，去趟厕所。但是我回来了，我的车玻璃上有了一张罚单，115块钱的罚单放在我的车玻璃前边。这个罚单在我来讲是非常贵重，我一天的工资就因为一张罚单没了。既然浪费了我的时间，又浪费了我的金钱，司机没有办法正常的休息，长期没有办法去厕所，这是健康的问题，也出现了风险。需要多长时间？
Thank you. You're going to translate?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm a ride-hailing driver, and I have come here today to support the Intro 1000 bill and strongly urge the passage of this bill at the hearing. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak. As you all know, it is extremely difficult to find a legal parking spot in New York City. Especially in Manhattan, it is particularly challenging for ride-hailing drivers as there are insufficient areas for them to park and rest. Only a few designated spots are available for ride-hailing drivers, but there are thousands of ride-hailing vehicles in New York City. As a result, the drivers face significant issues when it comes to resting, buying food, eating, and using the restroom. Once while I was in Manhattan, I suddenly experienced severe stomach pain and needed to use the restroom. However, I couldn't find a legal parking spot after walking several blocks. I finally found a public restroom. I circled around the area nearby the restroom for 3 times, and I still couldn't find a legal parking spot. In the end, I had no choice but to find a parking spot and then walk to the restroom. When I returned, I have a $115 ticket that was placed on my windshield. The ticket was extremely expensive, a single parking spot costing the equivalent of my entire daily wage, minus the expenses. Not only did I waste money, but I also wasted my time. Drivers cannot get proper rest, and the inability to use the restroom for an extended period poses risk to their health. Not having a legal parking spot available when needed can lead to severe physical health issues. Our ride-hailing drivers ensure the smooth functioning of the city, and it is not only fair that they also enjoy a normal working environment. Intro 1000 is a smart and straightforward idea that will benefit all New Yorkers and ride-hailing drivers in the city. I'm grateful for the community and ask you to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then my turn.
Give me a name.
Jackie.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. 1 second. Good afternoon, Councilman. My name is Jackie, and I'm a for-hire vehicle driver and organizer with the Independent Drivers Guild. I'm here today to speak on behalf of thousands of drivers who face real-life challenges every day, especially around something as basic as parking and taking a break. In places like Manhattan, drivers have nowhere to stop, no access to restrooms, or even a place to grab a quick coffee without the risk of a $115 ticket. These fines don't only hurt our wallets, they punish us for trying to meet basic human needs. No one should have to choose between their health and their jobs. This is more than an inconvenience, it's a matter of dignity. Driver needs safe, legal spaces to pause without fear of fines. We are working long hours to support our families, and the system makes that harder than it needs to be. We are deeply concerned about the expansion of autonomous vehicles testing in our cities as well. Companies like Waymo are not here to share the road, they're here to replace workers. They put thousands of drivers' livelihood at risk. As a city, we should be protecting jobs, not paving way for their elimination. You know, the saying, you give them an inch, they take a mile. That's exactly what Waymo and the other autonomous vehicle companies are going to do. And finally, I want to raise another issue about accidents involving loss that are nearly impossible for drivers to recover because they have no more jobs after that. They cannot join to another insurance company at all for at least 5 years. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Corey Burak. Thank you to the panel.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
Starting time.
Thank you. Amalgamated Transit Union thanks Majority Whip Selena Brooks Power and the Council Committee on Transportation for Infrastructure for this opportunity to share ATU's ongoing concerns on the impact of vans that operate illegally on MTA bus service, particularly for the residents of Southeast Queens. This afternoon, I'm representing Luis Elzadi, the ATU Local 1056 President and Business Agent, and ATU New York State Legislative Conference Board Financial Secretary. I also delivered his testimony on behalf of Conference Board President Tom Mason and ATU Locals 726, 1179, and 1181. All of our members serve the riding public. ATU remains concerned about efforts that would effectively allow vans to replace bus public transit, especially in Southeast Queens. We frequently testified how vans licensed and unlicensed illegally and unsafely operate along bus routes and deprive the MTA of revenue that it can reinvest in bus service. This de facto privatization of bus service in Southeast Queens especially impacts students, our seniors, working people, and bus riders who benefit from the Fair Fares program. Public transit serves as a lifeline for many New Yorkers to shop, see their doctor, attend worship services, visit family members, and do many of the things that enrich their lives. Working families need safe, equitable, and efficient transportation more often than not, including in Queens. That means reliance on our existing bus public transit system operated by the MTA. Illegally operating vans, unlike MTA buses, remain ADA inaccessible and foster more congestion along bus routes and at already heavily congested bus and subway transit hubs. These vans often race along city streets, putting all at risk and causing many pedestrian accidents. ATU made these and other points at meetings of the commuter van working group.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you, Corey. You could submit the rest in writing. I just have a follow-up question for you. Can you please state whether or not ATU is in support or opposition of the two commuter van bills being heard today?
Yes, I can. That was what I was going to say next before being cut off, that we support Intro 1346 and 1347, but on 1347, we recommend that the study also includes enforcement.
Got it. Thank you so much, Corey. Next, we will hear. Sorry?
And we'll submit the whole document in writing.
Perfect. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Michael Simon.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, if you could talk a little bit louder, that'd be helpful for me.
Okay, I will try. I wasn't expecting to be called right now, but let me put things together. Okay, so in the 1930s or so, they created the medallion to ease congestion, and that meant that if you wanted to be a taxi, you had to be a medallion instead of just having a car. And then at some point after that, they made an allowance for a base with cars that weren't taxis. The creation of bases was not meant to be added taxis. These cars were summoned from the base to the passenger, picked you up, dropped you, and then the car coming back to the base. These cars were not given the right to cruise, which is the basic problem with what's going on right now, because if you cruise, you need a place to park and you need a place to go to the bathroom. It was a clear distinction between the base form of transportation and cruising taxis. That distinction became blurred when the city council okayed the use of black cars to wander, to cruise, looking for an e-hail like taxis, using an app like a street hail, instead of returning to the base where, by the way, the base had provided bathrooms. Let's go back to the 1930s when the aldermen issued medallions under Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia, and let's say that the e-hail was available then as now. Would aldermen have created a category of licenses called high volume for hire vehicles along with taxi medallions, if medallions were able to use the e-hails as well? I sincerely think no. Easing congestion was the primary motive back then as it is now. Why would they have created more vehicles or an extra class of vehicles when medallions were able to do it? because the city approved the use of black cars to cruise, that is why there is such an ongoing issue about those drivers going to the bathrooms. The base should be providing bathrooms to the drivers. And once the car drops off a fare, they should be heading back.
Thank you so much. Your time has expired.
Thank you. Sergeants, I ask that you remove anyone that is making noise at this time in the chamber. If we have inadvertently missed anyone that has registered to testify today and has yet to have been called, please use the Zoom hand function if you are testifying remotely, and you will be called in the order that your hand has been raised. If you are testifying in person, please come to the dais. Hearing none, I thank everyone who took time out today to come and testify. For those who have been unable to testify or was unable to provide their entire testimony, we encourage you to submit it in writing to testimony@council.nyc.gov. And again, we thank everyone for their participation in today's hearing. This hearing is now closed.